In my last video about my monthly cost of living in Canada as a family of 4, a subscriber asked about how much you can earn in Canada in a month and also how much you can save in a month in Canada. And that is what we'll be talking about. I'll be comparing 3 popular places in Canada. Winnipeg, of course, because I live in Winnipeg, Toronto, and also Alberta. I'll be breaking down earnings, savings, and expenses. Plus, I'll be sharing some personal tips that can help you manage your budget better and also save more money. So stick around to the end. You don't want to miss it.
Hey, desire, burning like a fire. What you gonna do when it crumbles down? Watch it get higher.
So guys, let's start with how much you can earn in Canada. This depends on your job, your experience, and your location. So let's break this down by city. So firstly, I'll be talking about Winnipeg. So I have some things written down, so I might be looking at my system while talking to you. So the first thing I'll be talking about is if you are working in Winnipeg with minimum wage, you'll be getting $15.30 per hour. That is if you are doing a minimum wage work. So this means that if you are doing 40 hours job in a week, you'll be getting $2,448 before tax. And after tax, you'll be looking around $2,000, and this depends on your tax bracket. For mid-level job like administrative assistants, like trade people, you can be earning like $4,000 to $5,000 in a month. And also for professionals like doctor, nurses, engineer, lawyers, all those IT people, you can be earning like $6,000 to $9,000 monthly. And I'm talking about Winnipeg. So right now, let's go to Toronto. In Toronto, the highest minimum wage is 60.65 per hour. So that's around $2,664 before tax and roughly like $2,100 after tax. For mid-level jobs, any range can be around $5,000 to $6,000 monthly. And for professionals, they make up to $8,000 to $12,000, and it can also be more per month. So for Alberta, let's go to Alberta. For Alberta, minimum wage is $15 per hour. And that gives about $2,400 before tax. And after tax, it might be like $1,900 to $2,000. And for the middle level, it can be around $4,500 to $6,000 monthly. And for professionals, you can be expecting around $7,000 to $10,000. This depends on the industry. So I hope you guys are writing it down. So let's talk about the cost of living in those cities that I've mentioned, and this is where your money really matters because the cost of living here are so different. So let's talk about the Winnipeg. I have a full details video about my monthly expenses in Winnipeg. You can watch that video. It's like my second or the third video after this video, so you can just go there to watch it for full details, but I'll just be measuring it a little in this video. So the first thing I'm talking about is rent. For a 1-bedroom apartment in Winnipeg, it can range from $1,200 to $1,400 depending on the area, depending on what you want. If you want to have a shared apartment, you can get $500, $900 depending on what you want. As for a family of 4 or a family of 2 or family of 3, your rent can start from $1,100 depending on what you want to $1,700 to $2,000 to $2,500 depending on what you really want. So depends on you, depends on your income, depends on the kind of house you want. That was what determines house in Winnipeg. And the second thing I'll be talking about is the grocery. Depends on your family also. As a single person, you can be spending $400 to $500 monthly, depend on what you eat and depend on how you want to spend your money. And for family, you can spend roughly from $2,000 to $4,000 depending on the size of your family, depending on what your family eats every month. For my family, the highest we go is $600 or $800 sometimes. If we are buying in bulk, sometimes it can be more than $600. It depends on what we are buying that month. The next thing I'll be talking about is transportation. The monthly buses pass can be around $104 depending on how you move around, what you do and everything. And for people that have a car, with insurance and all those things that are attached to getting the car, your gas, and I'll be spending close to $300 to $500 depending on your insurance, whatever covers your car and your gas every month. So based on what I have here, the total spend might be between 2,000 to 2,400 for single people, and 4,000 to 4,500 or 3,000 for family, depending on the size of your family. For family, all we spend in Winnipeg is 2,000 something, and sometimes at least 3,000. So for Toronto is like the most expensive city, and for Toronto, a one bedroom can be 2,500 monthly, depending on what kind of environment that you want. So you guys, whatever I'm saying depends on how you really want to. I'm very sure there's some that might not be up to that, but it depends on the kind of building, the kind of house that you want. So for one bedroom, it can be 2,500, and for family size, it can range from 3,500 to 4,000. Like I said, depending on your location, depending on what you want. And next thing is groceries, and I'll just say that you can spend close to 500 to 700 on food and every other thing that you need in Toronto. The next thing I'll be talking about is transportation. For buses, you can spend close to 156, and if you have a car, you can spend close to 600 to 700 monthly on your car. The next thing for utility, depending on the kind of house you have, if you have some houses that you don't need to spend much on utility, and we have some houses, even in Winnipeg, we don't really spend more on utility. I think I said in my video, we spend 60 to 80 depending on the season. The summer, we spend 40, and for winter, we spend 60 to 80 depending on how we use our heater. So the same thing happens everywhere, depending on how you use a heater. For Toronto, utility for Toronto is between 200 to 300, depending on how you use it. Also, depending on if you get a house that does not have other utilities like your internet, your hydro, water, and all those stuff. So it depends on the kind of building you are using. In Toronto, if you are single, you can be spending close to 3,500 to 4,000 every month. And for families, you can be spending close to 6,000 to 8,000 monthly. It depends on you. And guys, I'm not saying these figures are the real figures. These numbers are based on my own research. So guys, make your own findings to be sure. Don't say that Doyin said this to a beg. So for Alberta, like city like Calgary, Edmonton, you can be spending around 1,400 for one bedroom, talking about single. And for family size, you can be spending close to 2,500 depending on what you want. And for groceries, you can be spending close to 400 to 500 for single, and for family, you can be spending 800 to 1,200 depending on your family size. And for the transportation, for buses, you can spend up to 109 monthly, and for car, you can spend roughly around 400 to 600 depending on your insurance, your gas, and everything like I've said earlier. And for utility, you can be spending up to 150 to 250 depending on you. For rent in Winnipeg, it's kind of cheap than every other city, but when it comes to the car and the grocery, I feel that it's kind of expensive, but depend on how you cut your cost monthly, like I've said earlier. So please, if you're in any of the cities that I've mentioned, please, you can just help us put your range in the comment section. Let other people learn from you, people that are trying to come to Canada, let them learn from you. So if you are living in Toronto, if you are living in Alberta, Calgary especially, and Edmonton, just put some of your expenses. If it's not right, just correct me in the comment section. Thank you. So now the most important thing that I want to talk about is savings. And also the savings still depend on you, depend on your personality, depend on what you can save at the end of the day. For people living in Winnipeg, minimum wage earner, they can still save like $100 to $200 monthly. That is if they're careful enough, if they're not spending too much. And for professionals that is earning like 6,000 and above, they can save 1,000 to 2,000 monthly. It still depends on you if you're not spender. It still depends on you if you're not a spender. You know, it depends on the way you spend. Yeah, nobody can spend your money for you. So for Toronto, I might say that minimum wages or minimum earners might not be able to save more, except if they're sharing expensive. When I mean sharing expensive, maybe you're sharing with someone, you're not the only one spending your money on all those things that we've talked about earlier. Maybe your partner, you guys are just sharing the bills together. That may help you to save more. But if you are the only one doing this, I'm not sure if you'll be able to save more based on my research. If you are earning minimum wage in Toronto, just please put it in the comment section. Let me know if that is true, if that's what I'm thinking is true based on my research. Just put it in the comment section. I don't think I'll be able to save like people living in Toronto, people living in Winnipeg, and people living in Alberta. For professional, there's any 8,000 and above, they can save from 1,500 to 2,000 depending on your lifestyle. If they buy Bentley, if they buy car way past you, you might not be able to save all those things. So everything here still depends on your lifestyle. Is not the figures I'm giving here is not the last figure. I don't know how I'm going to put it, but that is what I feel. Also, in Alberta, people that are earning minimum wage can save from 200 to 300. I think Alberta is more better. I don't know. But I just feel that they can save more based on the lifestyles, depending on your lifestyle, depending on what you do. And also for people that are professional in Alberta, any 8,000 and above, you can save up to 2,000. I think cost of living in Alberta is really, really okay, guys. So you can enjoy Alberta if you're thinking about going to those kind of city. You can enjoy those city. But I think the cost of living is kind of lower. And my advice to for you to be able to save is for you to just cut costs, not too much hanging out, eating out. Maybe you can reduce the eating out, just eat at home. And if you don't want, sometimes you don't necessarily need to take your car everywhere, especially if it's not during winter. You can just try to use the bus, so it can save you some cost, so it can save you from spending unnecessary money, I think. And you don't need to buy designers. You have other apps, you can buy something that's cheap. So I think those ones might help. So there you have it, guys. A detailed look about any spending and saving in this three city. Like I've said earlier, it depends on your lifestyle, it depends on the pros and the cons of each city. Every city in Canada has their own rules, their own pros, their own cons. So Canada is different from where I'm coming from, and that is Nigeria. Everybody that works with government earn the same salary, whether you're living in the big city or you're living in the small city, you all earn the same thing. So far you're on the same level. And if you are working in different, depending on where you're working, Nigeria too, you can earn more, you can earn lesser. But Winnipeg works according to their cities and their province, so whatever works for you. My advice is that it is better for you to start, if you are moving to Canada, it's better for you to just start from the affordable city like Winnipeg and Alberta before you not move to Toronto. It depends on you. What do you think you can live in based on what we discussed in this video? Let me know in the comment section, and I hope this video is so helpful to you. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, turn on your notification bell, and also drop a lovely comment in the comment section. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.
Whenever your heart is broken.